third step of the game is, of course, to solve the questions. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you might solve one of the questions before you do your deductions, but we'll see that in the next example. Okay, let's dive into question 1. Question 1 reads, if the last digit of an acceptable product code is 1, it must be true that. Okay, so if the last digit is 1, we know that we're dealing with the second universe. So we have 2 and 4 here, and we know that 1 is, so we have 2, 4, and 1 taken. And so that forces 0 to go here because 0 has to be less than 1, and 3 goes in the middle. So we've actually solved out the entire game. And we're looking for, it must be true that A says the first digit is 2. That is true. So we're probably at the correct answer. Just because this is our very first question, I'm going to go through them all, but normally if I were taking the LSAT, I would see that, I would have confidence in the work that I did, and I would circle it and move on. But let's just keep checking these. Second digit is 0, nope. Third digit is 3, nope. Fourth digit is 4, nope. Fourth digit is 0, nope. So all of these get crossed off. Before we move on, I want to point out that the work that I did for question 1 is done on a separate set of slots than my main setup. When I'm doing a specific question, I don't want to fuck with my main setup. Okay, you're just going to run into trouble if you do that. So pick another spot that's clear on your page and do your work separately. Okay, so moving on to question number 2. Which one of the following must be true about any acceptable product code? So we're not given any additional restrictions to work with in this question. Answer choice A, digit 1 appears in some position before digit 2. Well, clearly with the work that we've already done over here, we see that that's true once, but in one situation, but not in the other. So that's got to be wrong because it's got to be always true. Digit 1 appears in some position before digit 3. Well, again, that's definitely going to be the case in this first example, but in the second example, can we have a situation where 1 appears after 3? So we can have 2, 4. We can't have 3 there, and we want to have 1 afterwards. So can we could have 3 here, 1 here, and 0 here, and that complies with all the rules, right? So B has got to be wrong. C, the digit 2 appears in some position before the digit 3. Now, if you look at that first deduction that you made, you know that the digit 2 has to appear in the first 2 slots. And the other digit in those first 2 slots is either 1 or 4. That means no matter what, no matter which variation you're playing, 3 has got to come after 2, in which case C is the correct answer and you can move on. Okay, question number 3. If the third digit of an acceptable product code is not 0, which one of the following must be true? Okay, and this is where your deductions are going to help you smash this fucking LSAT into smithereens, because you've already decided that 0 can't be in slot number 5. So if 0 can't be in 3 either, then where is 0? Well, 0 is in slot 4, which means that C, the fourth digit of the product code is 0, is got to be the correct answer. Okay, moving on to question 4. Any of the following pairs could be the third and fourth digits, respectively, of an acceptable product code except. So this kind of question has the potential to be a real time sink, because 4 of these are going to be correct, 1 is going to be wrong, and it's not immediately obvious how you're going to sort through them. it's tempting to try to prove to yourself that 4 of these work. I would recommend that you try to be strategic when you see a question like this. We're looking for something that's going to go in 3 and 4. So let's scan down. What do we know? We know nothing about 4. We do know something about 3. We know that 4 and 3 can't be in that slot in some situations. So let's scan down the column and note that D and E both have 3 in the third column. So let's start there. There's no guarantee that the correct answer is going to be one of those two, but it's worth a shot. Okay, so if it's answer D, you would have it won't work in the second world. So you're looking to see if it works in the first world. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 0, and the remaining digit there is 4, and that complies with that second rule. So D works, which makes it the wrong answer. And it's important to make sure that you remember that you're doing all of these are acceptable except. So you're looking for 4 right answers and 1 wrong answer. Okay, but let's try E, which has 1 and 2, 3 and 4, which pushes 0 in the last one, which we know is illegal. So E is the correct answer. Got it? Okay, and the last question, number 5. Which one of the following must be true about any acceptable product code? So once you find something that isn't an alternative to that in any scenario, you can cross it off. So A, there's exactly 1 digit between the digit 0 and the digit 1. Well, if we look at the second scenario, we know that 0 has to be in here or here, and 1 could be right next to it. So A is out. There's exactly 1 digit between the digit 1 and the digit 2. Well, we see in our first world that that's not true. There is no digit between them, so that's got to be wrong. There are at most 2 digits between the digit 1 and the digit 3. Well, can we create a world where there's 3 digits between 1 and 3? Well, that would have to be in scenario 1, where you have 1, 2, something, something, 3, and for sure you can accomplish that because you can have 0 and you can have 4, and that works. So C is the wrong answer. There are at most 2 digits between the digit 2 and the digit 3. Well, again, let's try this world. Can you have a situation where you have 2, 4, something, something, 3? And of course you can. You can have 0 and you can have 4 again. So that's got to be wrong. E. There are at most 2 digits between the digit 2 and the digit 4. Well, we can see immediately that that has to be true because here there's less than that. And here, the furthest 4 can get is the very last slot, but that makes only 2 in between, so that works. So E is the correct answer. And that is game 1 of section 1, June 2007 LSAT. Smash to smithereens.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.